Welcome back, friends. Zach here, full-time reseller, and it's Wednesday, getting ready to hit it hard. Going to be doing some thrifting this morning. The garage sale scene has definitely been slowing down for the last month, and so that means I have to make thrifting more of a priority, especially during the work week, and that's all right. I do hate this time of year because thrifting means I have to pay up, but there's still a lot of good, legitimate items out there to source to resell, so follow along, and as always, I'll share with you everything I buy, the brand, the material, what I paid for it, and what I hope to resell it for online. So here we go. So just waiting a few more minutes for my local Goodwill to open up, but this is a good opportunity to share with some of the new followers, the new subscribers, a little bit more about myself. I am someone that has sold online pretty seriously full-time for the last several years now, and I was somebody that just kind of dabbled in selling bigger items on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist for probably the better part of the last 10 years. But once I got really tired of my job, my medical job that seemed dead end, working for people that really were unethical and didn't really care about the evolution of me as their employee or as a person, I made that leap of faith to jump into reselling full time. I started an eBay account, and for the first 3 or 4 months, I was pretty much just selling hard goods. But as I came to the end of the summer season and fall started coming on, I realized that it was going to be hard for me to source affordable hard goods year round. So I made a drastic decision to jump on the clothing sales bandwagon, and that's been fruitful for me. I still like to consider myself an everything reseller, but I would say that about 80% of my sales come from clothing and shoes, and most of that is used with an occasional new item. And so the reason I did that is because where I live, being a more rural area, it is just hard to be able to source and supply a store with hard goods constantly year round, especially in the winter months. And because we do get pretty cold here in northern New Mexico in the high desert, we don't have much of a garage sale season for about 4.5 to 5 months. So I was probably smart in making the shift to clothing. Now I'm not super thrilled to sell clothing at all times. And towards the end of the winter, I'm really stoked about the garage sale season because, for one, I can save a lot of money on my cost of goods, but it also gives me the opportunity to get back into selling hard goods, which I love. It gives me the opportunity to find a lot of cool stuff for really cheap, including clothing and shoes. And so that's kind of part of my business model. I'm not saying that that's how you should make your business work or operate, but I want to put this into your head. If you're just getting into reselling, or maybe you're just a hobby seller and you want to take it to the next level, really be thinking about your area, what kind of opportunities you have to buy and sell year round. Do you have a lot of thrift stores? Do you have a year-round garage sale and yard sale market? And those are kind of the things that are going to help you to make better decisions, to move forward, and to pursue hopefully more of a full-time status with reselling. The other side of it is to just give your heart to it and to find things that you like to buy and resell. That's very important, I found. If you're just buying stuff you have no connection to, it can get boring and you'll get tired of doing this. So my local store went ahead and opened up. I'm going to race in there and share with you what I find. Today I'll probably be hitting a number of different thrift stores, and again, I'll share with you everything I come up with and what I might be able to sell it for online. So let's do this darn thing. All right, this is one of my favorite employees at my local Goodwill. I'm gonna have to give her a hard time. What are you doing, young lady? You're gonna be famous on this one, you know that, right? All right, I found this RVCA hooded Henley. RVCA is a good brand, but $7, it's a little beat up. All right, so not much luck here at the local Goodwill. Just a lot of overpriced stuff that's just not worth the buy. Been here about 40 minutes, and all I've came across is these Nike Tech shorts. They are a nice digital camo. They have a little bit of a stain on them I probably could get out, but they are $9 or $8, and that's kind of a lot. They do sell for between about $25 to $40. I was in my local Goodwill for about 50 minutes, found a bunch of overpriced shoes and some clothing, but this was really the only thing I wanted to pay up for. Now these were marked at $8 and I wasn't able to match these to any recent sales on eBay, but I did look these up on Google Lens, and these shorts brand new are 95 bucks. I think it's due to the dry fit material and the bonded pocket. They're just fancy. But several of the things these shorts had going for them is they are digital camo. They're a plus size, which is okay. I'm not crazy about XL shorts, but yeah. And the other side of it is because I used cash, my local Goodwill is now giving a 5% discount. So it took the price of $8 down to $7.60. I will most likely price these at like $38, $35. They do got a little spot on them, but I think I can get that out. And I will just be patient, especially because I paid up for them. So I did come across several items at the last stop at my local Goodwill that I wish would have been priced down a little bit. There was a pair of Hoka Recovery sandals, but they had those things priced at $14 and they were a little bit beat up. And so for that price, I just had to pass. Also seen a pair of Crocs slides, and I think they had those at like $9 or $11. That's just too much to pay, especially for sandals and slides. But keep your eyes open. I always come back to this point that you got to be doing market research. You got to stay ahead of the pricers at thrift stores, especially Goodwill, because they're always looking up prices to be competitive, especially on eBay. And especially if you sell on Posh, eBay, Mercari, wherever your platform is, you just want to make sure that what your buying costs are good enough that you can make some money. And again, thrifting for me is very hard, especially as the winter months start to come on or as winter starts to work itself away. It's just something I have to do because of the nature of where I live. But if you can buy items in bulk, if you can buy lots of items, or if you can get out there and hit the yard sale season, garage sale season like I do, and stock up on stuff, that's going to help you to keep your costs down and help you to maintain a high listing number every day. eBay's algorithm really likes to see at least 5 listings a day to be considered a business, to be considered lucrative. And if you do that, eBay will reward you. Here lately, I've only been listing about 6 to 8 items a day, and that's simply because the garage sale season has slowed. So my weekly intake of items has dropped, and I have to pace myself, because if I don't do that, come late winter, I won't have any items left from the summer to list, and then I'll be forced to have to pay up thrift store costs. And you don't want to do that. Right outside a secondhand wolf thrift store here in Farmington, New Mexico. Gonna race in, just take a look around, see if they got any new items out on the showroom floor, especially because the weekend has came and went. And one of my favorite workers works today on Wednesday. Her name's Heather. She's always solid for me. And so let's go see if we can't find something good. I thought this was a Le Creuset Coquette. It is unfortunately just a generic off-brand, but that's okay. If you see something like this and it's Le Creuset, even if it's used, you can make yourself a decent $20, $25. Just make sure you're not paying that much for it. Le Creuset is money. All right, looking through hard goods pretty hard and just not seeing much. I found this Eddie Bauer down-filled puffer vest, and don't buy a lot of Eddie Bauer unless it's vintage or unless it has downfill. And so I went ahead and looked at the tag, and as you can see, it's 80% down, 20% waterfowl feathers, and it's kind of got a funky print to it, like a paint splatter, but it is 25% off, so might just pick this up. I'm trying to look through toys, last-ditch effort through this plush to find anything worthy. And here's a Cabbage Patch, but I'm not going to worry about her too much. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, no luck at that establishment. I was really on the fence about buying the Eddie Bauer down-filled puffer vest, but even with the 25% off, $7 is a lot to pay for that. Right now, sell-through rates are a little bit skewed on winter apparel just because we're in that shoulder season between summer and actual winter, and so it can be a little bit tricky to gauge, but I know enough about Eddie Bauer that it probably was just a little too much to pay for it, especially because it wasn't really a great color for women, and also because it's just too much for what it would sell for. And so I'm gonna go ahead and cut my losses here, make my way down the road, go visit my friends at my local favorite thrift store just right down the road from my house, see what they might have, and I might even make 1 or 2 more stops after that if I don't do any good there. So let's hope for the best. So spent about 1 hour and 20 minutes at the last 2 stops, and while I dug really hard and looked really deeply into my Goodwill, again, there just was items there that were sellable but not worth the buy-in cost. And then the second stop, I was lucky enough to even go back and look at some of the overstocked items that they hadn't put out on the showroom floor, spun through the jacket rack, and just didn't find anything. But I am grateful for my friend Heather at the Secondhand Wolf for just being so great to me. She's always looking out for me, always trying to make sure that my business is staying moving upward and forward. And I always say that having a good connection to the people you buy from is imperative, especially for me because I live in a rural area and I'm limited to only having so many thrift stores to source from, especially in the winter months. It is very important to have a good connection with the people that are running those thrift stores. If you do that, if you can just be friendly, you'll probably find within time you're going to get more deals. The people that work at those stores will look out for you as long as you're open enough to tell them what you like to source. And it just doesn't hurt to explain what you're after. Most people are gonna think about it and they'll look after you as long as you're a good person, and that has helped me tremendously. So now I'm heading down the road about 10 minutes to yesterday and today's thrift store. They're doing a $5 bag sale store wide. It's everything, it's clothes, it's shirts, it's pants and jackets. So definitely hoping I can get into a good haul of some clothing there. I have not been by there this week, and again, it's Wednesday, so hopefully they got some good donations over the weekend, and hopefully I'll get into a bunch of good apparel to buy for cheap to resell online. So just pulled up to my favorite thrift store in the area yesterday and today's thrift in Spencerville, New Mexico. This is the thrift store I'm always raving about that's right down the road from my house. And I love this place, not only because the prices are good, but mainly because the people are exceptional. They're in this for the right reason. And this is a church-based thrift store, so many of the proceeds just go to help support the church. Many of the employees here are volunteers, and they're just looking out for me. And so developing good rapport, good connection with these people in the last several years has again only helped to benefit me. And as I just pulled up, one of my old friends, one of the first guys I met in the reselling game, who's just a good friend, a good mentor, and kind of a jewelry and fine art expert, looks to be here. If I was to guess, I'll walk in and he's probably looking at some necklace, trying to find something worthy of a grab. So I'm gonna go in here and say hi to my friend Paul and my other friends that work at this establishment. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that I can walk out of here with maybe 5 to 10 items.
It is so noisy and so crowded.
What's up, dude? Finding anything good?
You know, I'm finding.
Digging deep here at the thrift store, ran into some friends, visiting with some of the employees. Only thing I found today is this beautiful area Heat Tech pullover sweater. It's got that beautiful Aztec design, and it's a decent size, and it's gonna be a great price because this place is always good to me. So gonna scoop it. All right, so I was unable to find anything inside of the storefront, but I am out here looking through the overflow or storage front building, and this is where they intake a lot of the goods before they sort them, clean them, and then send them out to the showroom floor to be sold. So I'm super glad that they let me do this. It gives me some extra stuff to look at, and especially why I love this is because it's when the stuff comes in and it's new. So oftentimes I might source something and maybe I have to clean it myself because it hasn't got to their cleaners yet. I'm good with that. I don't mind that. I feel very lucky to have the benefit of being able to do this occasionally. And so I'm gonna go ahead and look around, maybe see if I can't find a few things and hope for the best. All right, so the two kids that they hired on to organize this building have done a great job of getting things sorted out. I used to come in here and it was just a huge mess, piles and piles of clothing, boxes everywhere. And this thrift store just didn't have enough people to kind of sort out the stuff that was incoming. But now that they have these two youngsters over here getting this place straightened up, it's just made it a lot easier to sort. I found this pair of Vionic women's sandals. They're in pretty good shape. They are a smaller size, but for a couple bucks, I'm gonna go ahead and scoop them up. This time of year, I'm trying to not buy a lot of summer clothing, summer shoes, but for the rock bottom price and being a great brand that I've sold in the past, I'm gonna go ahead and lift them. So just got back to my casa. Not the most successful day out thrifting in my local community, but that's no surprise. It can be very much a roller coaster. It's full of ups and downs, and I'm used to that. But all things said, I only spent just underneath $14. I spent $7.60 on the Nike shorts. I spent $3 on the Vionic sandals, and I also spent $3 on the Ariat Heat Tech pullover. And as for the shorts, I'm hoping I could probably make $25 to $35 off of them. As for the Vionic sandals, I may just stash those in my spring death pile for this next coming spring. And I think I could probably make upper 20s on those. I've done pretty good on Vionic sandals in the past and generally sell them for about 25 to 30 bucks. And then lastly, the Ariat pullover, I think I could probably get mid 20s for that. It's not a bad size. It's got the great Aztec Southwest native pattern on it, and I love selling Ariat. So that's just the nature of the beast. Again, thrifting is up and down in my area. You see now what it's like for me to be a smaller reseller in a much smaller, more rural community. It can be hard to thrift, so you got to know your stuff. You got to be on your purpose, and you got to know your brands, and you also got to know what to spend on what. So this is a good example of paying up on several of these items, or at least on the Nike shorts. I'm good with that. Hopefully they'll sell for me and I'll make my money back fairly quick. As for the rest of this stuff, like I said, it's bread and butter, but I'm gonna go ahead and wind it down. As always, if you like this video, please hit like, make a comment, or please subscribe.